Hi, I'm Tommy Hayfield. I'm here today with the MVPs of the Super Bowls, all 45 of them, all 46 as a matter of fact. Here they are from Super Bowl 1, Bart Starr, also from Super Bowl, also from the Green Bay Packers. Bart Starr was MVP in Super Bowl 2. Joe Namath was Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 3. Len Dawson, a quarterback, they're all quarterbacks so far, was the MVP in Super Bowl 4. Chuck Howley, a defensive tackle, I believe he was, or a linebacker from Dallas, was MVP in Super Bowl 5. Roger Staubach was MVP in Super Bowl 6. Jake Scott, a defensive back, was MVP in Super Bowl 7. Larry Zonka, a teammate of Jake Scott, was MVP in Super Bowl 8 the next year. Franco Harris of Pittsburgh was MVP in Super Bowl 9. Super Bowl 10 had Lynn Swann, a wide receiver, who's now in the Hall of Fame from Pittsburgh Steelers. Fred Biletnikoff was MVP in Super Bowl 11 from Oakland, the famous wide receiver of the Oakland Raiders. Randy White and Harvey Martin were co-MVPs in Super Bowl 12. Terry Bradshaw won back-to-back MVPs in Super Bowls 13 and 14 from Pittsburgh, of course. Jim Plunkett, the Stanford quarterback of the Oakland Raiders, was MVP in Super Bowl 15. Joe Montana, who won multiple MVPs, was Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 16. John Riggins of Washington, MVP in Super Bowl 17. Marcus Allen of the LA Raiders was MVP Super Bowl 18. Joe Montana, again, as I mentioned, Super Bowl 19 MVP. Richard Dent, the defensive, I believe he was a defensive tackle, was Super Bowl MVP from the Chicago Bears in Super Bowl 20. Phil Simms in Super Bowl 21, the quarterback for the Giants, was MVP. Doug Williams, the first black quarterback ever to start a Super Bowl game, was MVP for the Redskins in Super Bowl 22. Jerry Rice, everyone's familiar with him. Jerry Rice of the 49ers was MVP in Super Bowl 23. Joe Montana, for the third time, the Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 24. Otis Anderson, the running back of the New York Giants, was Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 30. Sorry, Super Bowl 25. Super Bowl 26. Mark Rippon, the quarterback for the Redskins, was MVP. Troy Aikman, the now broadcaster, was MVP in Super Bowl 27. Super Bowl 28 had Emmitt Smith of the Dallas Cowboys. Steve Young, the now ESPN announcer, Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 29. Larry Brown, I believe he's a running back for Dallas, was Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 30. Desmond Howard, the Michigan Wolverine, I think he had a kick return for a touchdown in that game. Maybe I think he might have had 2 long kick returns in that game. He had great stats, as I remember, for the Packers. Terrell Davis of Denver, who beat the Packers in Super Bowl 32, was MVP. He's a running back. John Elway, Super Bowl 33, was MVP as the Broncos won back-to-back Super Bowl titles. Kurt Warner, not the running back, but the quarterback for the St. Louis Rams, won MVP in Super Bowl 34. Super Bowl 35, Ray Lewis of Baltimore, still playing. That terrific defensive team. He was the MVP in that Super Bowl that they won. Tom Brady, Super Bowl 36, was MVP. Tom Brady of the Patriots, of course. Dexter Jackson, the safety from Tampa Bay, was the MVP in Super Bowl 37. Super Bowl 38, Tom Brady again of New England. Super Bowl 39, Deion Branch of New England, who won back-to-back, of course. Super Bowl 40, Hines Ward of the Steelers, the wide receiver. Peyton Manning, Super Bowl 41 of Indianapolis, of course. His brother won the MVP in Super Bowl 42 for the Giants, both quarterbacks, of course. Santonio Holmes in Super Bowl 43 was MVP. He was a wide receiver. And Drew Brees, Super Bowl 44, was the MVP. Of course, last year, Aaron Rodgers, also a quarterback, was MVP. Mostly quarterbacks were MVPs. Occasional defensive player, and often wide receivers and running backs. I'm Tommy Hayfield, and that's the Super Bowl MVPs through the years.